So hello everyone, welcome to the first Clackback with SGA and Sara Klein. It's great to have all of you here, and hopefully there are a few joining on the live stream as well. Shout out to SITTV for doing that. Do we maybe want to just do intros for the three of us, and then we can jump right in. So I'm Charlie. I'm the Vice President of Finance. I would be the moderator for the Clackback.
I'm Deb. I'm the President of Student Government.
And I'm Sara Klein. I'm the Assistant Vice President for Student Affairs. I'm just really happy to be here. This is going to be a new thing that we do every semester so that we can keep lines of communication open and make sure you get your questions answered and also give us some ideas.
Great. Yeah, jumping right in, we wanted to start with some updates from you, Sara.
I wrote some things down so I wouldn't forget. Okay, so I wanted to talk a little bit about some recent things that we've been working on campus. This is a highlights list, so we've done a lot of things, but some of the big things that I thought I wanted to mention to you all today. I mean, the most obvious is the University Center complex and residential towers, which will open in mid-May or early May to mid-May at this point, but is running on schedule. It's looking incredible, and I just cannot wait for you all to come in and see it for the first time. Hopefully you all got the information about the big celebration for the University Center complex on Saturday, May 14th. If you're still going to be around campus in Hoboken, we'd love for students to participate. It's basically going to be a big party that night to celebrate the opening. So that's going amazing, and as soon as it opens, you'll all be able to start using some of the facilities. The dining and residential facilities won't open until August when students return for fall semester, but the fitness center will open and the communal space, so you can like study or socialize or hang out, bring food and eat it there. A lot of the offices will open, so my office will move there, undergraduate student life will move there, the game room will open. So a lot of the use of the space will still be there, even though the main functions, like the residence halls and the dining won't open until August, but you'll definitely be able to come in and hang out and work out. So that's big, obviously, for the whole campus. From student affairs lens, we're increasing staffing in a number of our offices, which is very exciting. If you're a person who uses disability services, you probably know we've had one person running that office for the whole time I've been here, Phil Gaiman, who is amazing, but he needs more help. So we had a new person start last week, a second full-time staff member, Gloria Garcia, who's fabulous. We're also recruiting for some new openings. We're hiring full-time hall directors in residential education for all of our buildings for the following, for fall. And that's a really big, exciting thing. It will provide more structure and guidance to the residential experience, will allow for just a staff member to be more present in the building. We currently have grad students running the building, which has been fine, but I really want staff who will spend more time with students and engage with them more and work, 40 hours a week. So that's going to be a really nice change. We're all very excited for that. Hopefully you saw my announcement on Monday. I'm probably most excited about the new services available at Student Health Services. We've been working on this for about 5 years, but very diligently over the past year, and we now can offer on-campus testing for a variety of things. We can do blood draws, SGA testing, pregnancy testing, urine samples, all different things that you might need for different illnesses you have or tests that you want to receive. And those can all be done on campus through a partnership with LabCorp. So that's really a wonderful addition, I think, to our campus. Hopefully you've used the Stevens Shuttle, the new version of it, in partnership with VIA, which I think is a more efficient way to shuttle all of us around. It still has a few kinks, but I feel that most of them have been worked out. It's running much more smoothly. We're getting riders to where they want to go, much closer to the time frame that they want, based on our surveys and data collection from the app. So really happy with Stevens Shuttle, but feel free to give me feedback if you're not happy with it. I'm also really proud that we established a new office in Student Affairs this semester, the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, overseen by Liliana Delman. And that office has always been a functional, it's always been a function of undergraduate student life, but I've always felt that it needed to be its own operation to give it the kind of the reputation and branding that it needs, and to allow it to ultimately expand, which it needs to do. So the first steps are already in progress there. We've this year added 24/7 coverage in both student health services and CAPS. So it used to be that after we all left work, it would just close and you were sort of on your own. You could use our on-call system for an emergency, but typically most people don't have counseling emergencies at noon, right? It often is like 2 o'clock in the morning that you find that you need to speak with a counselor and it's urgent. So now, if you didn't know this, you could call the main line of CAPS 24/7, holidays, any time of the day. And same with student health services. During the pandemic, we felt like we couldn't close our doors. What if someone needed us? So we're going to continue that 24/7 nurse hotline as well that's connected to student health services. And then finally, we're working on some things for the next few weeks and possibly months into the summer. Bike racks has been a big thing. We are working on a really nice covered bike rack that will go next to the Howe Center for Upper Campus. And we're going to be installing some smaller bike racks throughout campus as well over the next few months. We're also working towards menstrual equity and putting free tampons and pads in every women's restroom and gender inclusive restroom on campus, and that will happen over the next few weeks as well. And we're also purchasing a lot more cool outdoor furniture because we want you all to be able to have social spots outside and inside. So that's just like the highlights version. There's a lot going on, but it's all, I think, really wonderful things, and I'm totally open to hearing more suggestions as we talk today. I will stop. Yeah.
Yeah, so most of you are obviously in the SGA, but for those of you who aren't, I just wanted to highlight some things. So the first one that I'm really excited about, and I keep talking about it because I'm really excited about it, is the campus improvements fund that we're putting together. So we got a lot of feedback at the last town hall on a bunch of different campus improvements that we really needed more of a process for, so that students knew that it was a thing that they could do. And then come to us with different ideas. So we're adding microwaves to certain buildings on campus, and there's been talks of locker extensions for commuter students and just different things like that that maybe we as individuals within the SGA wouldn't necessarily know to bring to the table. So that's really exciting to get more people sort of indirectly involved with the SGA. The final schedule has been sent out pretty early this semester, and hopefully for semesters moving forward. That is something that Eden has been working on, I think, since she walked onto campus, and that has finally come to fruition. So that's really exciting, and we worked with a bunch of different people to make that happen. And yeah, I think that we have a much better relationship with the registrar in general now, so that's really nice. Alex has been working on org fairs, and we really are trying to get more organizations to have a greater day-to-day presence on campus. A lot of organizations obviously have their membership and different things like that, but there are a lot of students who want to get involved and don't necessarily want to do it the first day that they get on campus during the block party. Block party is an amazing event that so many people do get involved in, but we wanted to give them the same opportunity in the spring to sort of advance whatever they had already been interested in. So those have been going well. We're continuing to do those. We're also doing an organizational directory for orgs who can't make it to things like that. So if there are any org leaders listening, please fill that out so Alex doesn't have to hunt you down. It is really cool. It's really important, and I'm also working with admissions for them to sort of have a QR code within their little booklets that admitted students or incoming students, anyone who's interested in the school, could also see that and sort of see what we have to offer outside of academics, since we do have a pretty big community outside of academics here as well. Mental health initiatives, so we're working on a ton of different things with CAPS, as you probably know, but we're currently, we hosted the mental health speaker event with Kevin Hines. That had an incredible attendance. That was really cool. Yeah, it was a really cool event, and from that event we learned a lot, especially how to support other students, and with that we're going to be working with Gabby Geider for sending out things with care reports, and we're also doing Send Silence packing in about a month, and that's when it's from Active Minds National Chapter, and they come in and they'll put backpacks across campus and sort of just raise more awareness about suicide and suicide prevention and just other things like that. At that event, we're also going to have a couple of different booths for people to write letters to people who they really care about and maybe can't say it in person or don't know how to say it in person, or if they think someone might need a little extra boost. I think it'd be really cool. I think that a lot of people will stop by and do it. I know athletics is also going to get involved with it, so that's pretty exciting. But mental health initiatives is something that both Pauline and I were very passionate about, and we made that very clear from when we first started running, so it's really cool to be able to do a bunch of different things in that regard. PE program restructure, so due to student concerns, we're working on restructuring the physical education program to better fit student needs. There will be more updates about that coming out within the next couple of weeks, honestly, and then further after that. But if anyone does have any concerns, wants to see any changes, definitely do bring those up today or whenever. And then the last big thing that I wanted to mention is due to some careful planning and some really good collaboration within the SGA, we have been able to make a pretty good donation to see some really large campus change on campus, obviously, it's campus change. But I think it'd be really exciting, and we're all going to see it happen really soon. So that's something that we will all see like during our time here. Hopefully, most of you are pretty young, but yeah, that'll be really exciting to see, and I'm excited about it. So I'll keep talking about it. But yeah, those are sort of my updates, or our SGA updates, unless anyone has any questions. I did ask you all, but in case I missed it.
Great. So yeah, lots of great updates. We'll now open the floor for any questions or comments. If you're here, just raise your hand. I'll call on you. If you're watching on the live stream, you can put your question in the chat, and then we'll make sure to read it. So, any questions? Ben?
So regarding like Phil and the Office of Disability Services getting 2 full-time employees, are they getting a different office?
Good question. I have the same question. So yes, we are working on securing new comes to, and honestly, perhaps these connections into their offices and pretty sure it makes a lot of sense. I think when we built the wellness center, we knew that eventually disability would need to move elsewhere. That as CAPS expanded, that they took that entire second floor. So it's sort of the perfect timing because
I know that all these updates are both very exciting to both of you. Do you have a favorite or most exciting one out of those?
We can make an impact on campus and help us make that impact. So something that I think a lot of students don't know is that every undergraduate student is a member of the SGA. So we advocate for that, we do things that impact every student, but at the same time, any student on campus can do so many things that impact us. So I think that for our you day to day. So I think that'll be a really exciting way to sort of see some change on campus that may seem minor, but that we just don't think about in our day to day because it's something that we directly are redealing with. So.
I think, the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion was something I founded in the Office of Student Affairs for a long time, so that feels a really big step forward for us and just centers the conversation around DEI on campus and just furthers what we can offer to you. And so that felt really important to what we needed to do as students. I think that our University Center, that's completely changed all of our time at Stevens and moving forward everyone's time at Stevens. And until you're in it and see just the amount of space that we have, you just can't fathom how much more space we now have. There's so much, it's such lovely space. I just think that it's going to change the way that we function on campus in the best way, and it will be much more in the center of community, which we need so badly. And having double residential population with almost 1,000 more students living on campus, that's going to change the entire vibe of campus and get students more engaged and active. So I couldn't imagine anything better for us.
So just a quick question. What is the University Center beyond the initial opening? We're talking a lot about the initial opening. I think it might be a little important to stop beyond the initial opening. Plans for like 3-4 years or so.
What do you have plans for it?
Like any improvements you're trying to make in the next 3 or 4 years? Are you waiting on feedback for that?
Improvements to the university?
After it opens.
The hope is not to have to, right? Hopefully get a good enough design input process going in that there aren't too many changes. Every new building has these buildings that's we realize we got an outlet, we need to have it, so we change that, So there are small tweaks to any new facility which will happen, and and just have you use it. But of course, if there are suggestions you all have, or different ways we want to use this space, things are flexible.
Is there another question after?
It depends on how you feel about it. I mean, I love that. I want more of that. I mean, the increased foot traffic will improve the number of connections you're going to naturally and organically make. We also are going to have more space for all those people to go, right? They're not just going to be hanging out. I think one of the biggest issues at Stevens for many years has been that there's not enough communal space. These buildings actually really helped when they opened, more so than I thought. Like, I find that it seems like you all study here and camp here. We didn't have enough hangout space on campus, like, to do nothing, right? And also for all commuters and students who, I don't know if I'd call them commuters, but they live in Hoboken. You've got 2 hours between your class. Right now, or until we had these buildings, there was very few places to go. Your dining hall, your library. Now we have some of this space, which is great, and that we always used to that. But really, I think what it's going to be is the university center. That's where it's going to be. Like, we're going to meet for, you're going to say, I want to have coffee. And obviously, we're going to meet at the university center. That's going to be the place to go. So I think it helps provide the space, and there will be more people out and about on campus. But I want that. I want the campus to feel better personally.
Yeah, I also think that we've been talking a lot about like furniture, and there's a lot of different things that are going on there. So I think it'll be more like, I think obviously the university center will be a big hub that everyone will sort of be attracted to, but there will also be some smaller places on campus for like other people as well who don't want to be as loud.
Just making like the outdoor setting more decent too, like kind of invite people to like gather there. So that's
Yeah, that's definitely the point. I mean, when I say I'm purchasing retro furniture, there's always some that's embedded with the opening of the university center. I don't know the exact reliability of that furniture, but if you walk by that site, you'll see there's like that plaza between the 2 residential towers, and that's intended to be a social space. There's a little lawn there that you can hang out on, which is cute, that little square in between. But then there's some cafe tables that are outside that cafe. There are going to be some big picnic tables under the bridge. And then behind the university center is a whole other world that I didn't realize existed until I took my first tour, which is that there was a little patio back there. And also what unintentionally was created during this process was a backyard lawn to Davis Hall, which I'm also getting furniture on. So there's like this whole little world back there where there are going to be some tables that you can hang out in your sort of main city. It's so beautiful. So there's some outdoor furniture that has nothing to do with what I'm ordering for the campus. It's sort of part of the university center project. And then there's the additional outdoor furniture I'm trying to add to the areas on Palmer Lawn where we can't put a tent anyway, like in the tree grove kind of, and on Humphrey Lawn, I see students hanging out there, and there's like that one old beat up metal table. We're going to do better than that. So there's some things like that. And actually there's some plans to improve the MPK quad and Davis Lawn in the coming years as well. There's just like this endless rotation of facilities improvement projects, but all of us in the leadership are just very excited to do these things for you.
I know also going back to the foot traffic example, that like with the opening of the university center, also Whip and Walk will be open as well, which is right. So I explained this to those of you who were at the SGA meeting, but there's this whole part of it. So the Whip and Walk, that little road that currently is on the other side of construction fence that you can't go on. But for those of you who are younger and you've never experienced campus without that construction fence, what you don't realize is that that is the main walkway of campus, right? When this thing initially was closed for the construction project, I was freaking out because I couldn't fathom how you would even walk the campus. Right now, the thing that we do now, this whole going between Walker and Schaefer, is very random. And no one ever did that in the past. Like, that just wasn't the way that a person walked. So the Whip and Walk will just allow the flow of traffic, and it always was a social place where, like, yeah, I'd be coming up and I'd be coming down, and we would stop and we would talk. Like, everyone traveled up and down that walk, so that'd be great too. And it's just it's just a main pathway of campus, so that will allow for more people.
Make it
like a road. It's going to be paved, it's large. So that's the heaviest traffic. You're all going to walk on a pen walk now. So it'll be okay. But the good thing is, we have a whole team of facility staff, so they're the first people to say, or they'll listen to me if I call and say, hey, we're having a problem, right? This path isn't working, or this, and they're really good about addressing those kinds of things.
Another question.
Yeah, just a quick question. Does residents have plans to renovate the current dorms on campus after like the university center is all better and all?
Yeah, that it's a capital improvement project for the campus. But all of those residence halls are on the list in one way or another to be renovated, but they're huge projects, huge. They also, most of them probably a whole academic year, which is a big commitment. We have never been able to do that before because we didn't have enough housing elsewhere to shut down part of our campus. Now we could do that, so it is in talks. I think all of us feel that Palmer is the most dire situation. So it is a conversation. There's no guarantee of when that's happening because there are also other priorities like classrooms and labs and other things that you all need. But it is on the docket for the future.
Yes.
I don't know what is the priority order, but in Bushar, I know like we're not on getting rid of that one yet. So changing those to gender neutral bathrooms to keep that issue. Like I don't know if that's
It's actually a conversation happening right now,
okay.
quite literally. So that's under conversation. It's under discussion. Right? There are some code issues that we have to deal with about certain types of bathrooms and what has to be gender inclusive and gender balanced. But we're trying to address it after a historically male campus. It's kind of hard because we do have urinals in some of those rooms, but women are just going to have to ignore those. But we are probably going to be adding some more women's rooms.
Matt.
I was going to ask you, talking about D&I that is being established, which is currently in the office of one person, or maybe two. Isaiah, what kind of plans with expanding and going forward? And
The office is only 2 months old, so we're still working on those plans. We just established it, but Liliana and I talk about this weekly. We would like to hire more people. I think that's a conversation. It might not be tomorrow, but our hope is to expand the staff by at least one. We're not a huge campus anymore, that we don't need an office of 10 people, but we do need more than one person. We know that. So that's my hope either next year or the following year to be able to do that. But again, it depends on the budget process. And I think we'd like to offer more, right? But we can't really do that without another person because Liliana is stretched quite thin. But that is our hope, to offer more services and more events, workshops, programs for students. We'd like to do more orientation. We'd like to do a pre-O program. We have a lot of vision for that office, but it does require more staffing before we got to we can't put the cart before the horse, right? We can't have Liliana do any more things than she does. But I think pulling it out to be its own office was the first step, and now we can build on that and add some more staffing and resources to the office. So.
So not get ahead of myself for these plans. But I guess what kind of comes next? As far as now that towers, renovations, but also other buildings, schools thinking about building. So I guess what's kind of the goal moving forward for the next set of big overarching changes?
Well, that's what's being determined at this very moment. I hope that all of you have seen some of the announcements about the strategic plan for the next 10 years, which is going to be finalized in June, and we're in the process of that now. So actually, something we should talk about is maybe I can do a little session just for SGA input, since I think sometimes students don't always go to those sessions that we offer that allow for input. But right now, there's a group of us at the university, including students, who are determining what our next strategic plan is, and there's a lot of great ideas, none of which are final, so I don't want to start spouting all the ideas. But what will stem from that strategic plan is a determination of, do we need new facilities? Do we need additional staff? What do we need to accomplish the strategic plan? And yeah, probably we may need to think about another building or another residence hall. So that's certainly on the table. But that's what we're in the middle of figuring out
Quick question. Kind of going off that question, could you possibly use the Stephen students account to promote like those sessions that you're saying students are attending, like promote those?
We do put them on students. And sometimes they're stories, so if you missed it that day, you know, balance the stories in the posts. But
At this point, is there a draft of the strategic plan, or is it still, like, because last time we discussed it in SGA, it was just on kind of overarching goals. Is there a draft at this point?
yeah, I believe it's on Stephen's intranet.
Right, so last time I checked that, it was like, just like goals, like 6 like goals.
Oh, it was just 6 goals on the intranet? Okay.
I don't know if it's
I'll talk
updated.
with you about that. I will ask them to update it. I will update the site. Yeah, there's more than that.
I think it was, what's on there, I think it was like the first presentation we saw. I think the very first.
Okay, it's been updated. I'll remind you to update the intranet. But either way, I will do a session just for SGA on that.
So in a lot of classrooms in mainly value, some classrooms again with like the projector systems have been a little unreliable with connected laptops and all. So do you have any idea when that's going to get like addressed?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know anything about that or I'm not really involved in that. But
An
I think
example would be value 204.
I think what needs to happen, someone needs to put in a work order to have that address. Is a professor aware of it and putting it? That's what they should be doing. Is if they're teaching in a class, they should be calling it in or sending a formal work order. So that's how those things get addressed.
I know that there have been, not like consistent issues, but just like some issues with Skyline in general, like the connector thing.
Skyline, the internet.
Yeah. Like the code that you put into your laptop, sometimes it'll get there and then it'll just go away and then a new one comes in as soon as you put the old one in. But I can bring that up to the CIO advisory committee meeting, which we have soon.
That's an even better idea. I will mention it to the CA myself, but yes, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Coming from multiple places, I didn't realize that was an issue. But yeah, for particular issues though, that should be filed as a work order because they will address everything. And you can even just email support@stevens.edu. It's actually super easy. That's what I do.
Leo.
For Vavio Patio and First Floor Vavio, because they're kind of like eerily empty. So
Because the lights, they are trying to fix the lights. I know. I saw them too. Fabio Patio is actually intentionally empty. I know what you're talking about. It's an event space, so they don't want to have too much furniture because it's hard to have an event space with that much furniture. And similarly, Fabio Atrium has sort of become the de facto event space too. Maybe it'll change one day when we start using the university more and our use of campus spaces changes. But right now, pretty much every other day, there's something going on in Fabio Atrium. But we talked about the desk there, what we might do there, or we need the desk there, right? Initially, it was intended to be an info desk for the campus, never really found out. So that's been a conversation, but I think until we really see the usage of the university center, there's still those atrium. That could be a conversation. I think there's some general updates planned for Fabio over the next year to maybe add some more student lounge furniture and study furniture. There's some areas in Fabio where you kind of yellow there, and there's that circular area critical space for students. So that is the plan to have furniture, and actually one of those may become the de facto commuter lounge where we move the lockers and add microwaves and better seating. Because Burchard first floor is being entirely renovated this summer, so that commuter lounge will go away and we have classrooms, so we'll have to move the commuter space.
And regarding, I'm sorry, there's like whenever we have an event there that has tables, students will immediately sit at the tables.
I know.
Like before anything ever happens. But even if we had like some round tables that did stay there and then were taken out for events or replaced for events, that might be.
Someone taking minutes right now. Remember that.
Especially during like finals week or something.
That's a good idea. Will you write that down? You order tables during finals week. That seems like an easy fix. Yeah.
I just wanted to clarify something. I knew the shard renovations would happen, but like not so soon, because you said the summer, right? So like, when is that going to be done? Is that gonna be done by the time we come back, and like, what's the extent of it?
Yes, that's gonna be done before you come back, and the intent is to add multiple classrooms on that floor, in that entire area. So red and gray is closing. That entire space will be reconsidered. So Fabio 118 will remain, right, Fabio, Burchard 118 will remain, but really the rest of the floor will receive a full renovation, and the goal is to add more classrooms so that we never have the difficulty with the classrooms that we had this past fall. And then we will also redo the restrooms on that floor, which need it.
And so is red and gray closing like forever, or?
No, it is. So is CJ. It's planned. I mean, these need to, we're going to have so many other food options that take the place of those options. So anything you can get there, you will still be able to get. It just won't be in the actual venue. CJ's.
We'll go in the back and then,
Since the police sun was closing over the summer, is it gonna be replaced for that summer?
The commuter lounge.
Yeah.
We're talking about that now. Yeah, but there'll be a place because you need lockers. Is that what you're asking? Is that the concern?
Yeah.
We're going to move the lockers.
Kind of going off that question, are the labs, are the two labs that are on the Burchard first floor staying?
I don't know off the top of my head. I believe they're moving. I don't know that off the top of my head though. I'm not overseeing this renovation.
Elena.
Really small. I remember you were talking about the patio atrium, and I actually kind of feel like the small desk in that atrium area, just because I'm a part of group life and I like programming. So lots of times we have like fundraisers and like we want to, I would do a bake sale there. It's like a perfect area because since you're moving like classes, so, I don't know. As far as
You're advocating for the desk.
I love
We're probably not getting rid of the desk anytime soon. But I will also say, again, like it's going to change when this new building opens. I feel like when you're going to do something like that, you're going to want to be in the Grand Commons of UCC. That's where everyone's going to pass through all during the day. We don't really have a place like that now where everyone sort of checks in each day. But I feel like all the student organization tabling and fundraising and things like that, I think people will want to shift into the UCC.
There's been talks, at least in business school, of really decreasing class sizes. But at the same time, you have like more people on campus. And I know we're adding a couple of classrooms in Burchard, adding a couple in Howe. But are there any other like major spaces where classrooms are being added? Because I feel like there's a bigger push for smaller classes and more classes than the actual supply of classes.
Yeah, that's the goal of this summer project. The other place that we're adding classrooms is the student center. The current student center will have some classrooms in it. But yes, the goal of the strategic plan is to reduce class size.
Okay, I think this might be something that's like specific to me because I get a lot of packages delivered to me specifically for an organization I'm a part of. And I was recently informed at the room that since I am now the president of the school, I can no longer get packages sent here, which just seems, I don't know, that seems like very strange to me. I don't really understand why that's the case anymore, and I'm just curious if that's something that would be able to be turned back. I just like, I don't know, I sometimes get like heavy things that I'd rather not carry from my apartment, and I don't understand why.
You mean for a student organization?
Yes.
You just need to change the way you're addressing it. It should go to the Office of Undergraduate Student Life, not to you personally. That's why. You can work with Natasha and Student Life. She'll help you figure it out. It should really go to Natasha, and she will collect the packages. You will pick it up from her.
Typically, the shop catalog packages absolutely go through her, but usually the ones that we order on our own from like Walmart don't have to go through her, but they could. But then she ended up with like so many packages in her
It's
office
okay.
at all times.
It's okay. She has a big space
Yeah.
in the new center to collect all that, but they're going to be delivering them just in batch.
Generally,
Well, you don't have those, but yeah.
but just like generally, like, I guess why can't like students no longer
Because this isn't your home address anymore. If you move off campus, right? I mean, it's just like any other place in the world, you know. If you don't live on campus, then you wouldn't receive mail here. So it's only for that, or for the purposes of the university, and that way we would take the package for you. It's just that it has to be addressed not to an individual student, because the mailman wouldn't know that it's for your student organization. Right, but you're not listed in their system as someone who's a resident. Does that make sense?
You just don't stay on tours. Like you get your mailbox for anytime you're an undergrad. So
Is that not true?
We should fix that.
yeah.
You get it for the entirety of your time residing
Yeah.
in Stevens housing. So if you, like, I think maybe the confusion was that people often moved to lease housing, but since they were still Stevens housing resident, they receive on campus mail in their mailbox. But that's probably not what happened.
I was like, I'm registered to vote at Woodland Housing Terrace, which I guess that's a problem.
You're saying what?
Cause like when I moved here, like I got like a registered vote at your new college campus, and I registered here, and so.
Yeah, you just need to change your address, just like you would after college when you move somewhere. You would just change your address.
Just a little question. Do we have any idea of how students' ID is going to respond to the ongoing Okta breach that happened this morning?
Yeah.
Do you know anything about that?
Our manager just told me before we walked in.
Oh, I'm unaware of this. I'm sure that we should ask our IT folks. I don't know anything about that. I'm sorry. I'm the least technical savvy person at Stevens. I'm sorry.
So Stevens is a smoke-free campus, obviously. However, there have been some instances where I've encountered smokers on campus, and some of them were a kind of unpleasant experience for me based on where they were smoking and where I was. Are there any plans to like really crack down on that and get rid of any smokers, or, like, get them away from here?
Well, how did you? I'm going to turn it back to you, Alex. That's okay, because I know you. So, what did you do in this situation?
Well, so there's been a few situations. If I see someone smoking, I will tell them to get off campus, right, or put out the cigarette. But there's one. This has happened a few times.
I'm going to start texting. Yeah, she's handling it.
Yeah.
Okay, so what? Tell us on.
So I live in River on the first floor, and there have been several instances where people will come out and smoke like right outside my window. So I'll be working, and then I just smell someone smoking. So I don't really feel comfortable opening my window and telling them to get out, because it just kind of feels like an uncomfortable situation there. So that's, for example, is one instance that has happened repeatedly. Like this morning, it happened right there. I was taking an HVAC out by River, actually.
Is it a student or a facilities person who's taking an HVAC out?
It wasn't someone that was taking the HVAC out, like it was in that location, I'm saying, but it was I think it's someone that possibly worked there because they didn't look like a student and they went into the door of the building next to her. So, yeah.
So these are complicated, right?
Yes.
I mean, look, I am the first person to hold a smoker accountable. So if you know who the person is and repeat, like the one-off situation, you walk by someone and you say, please stop smoking, and they stop. I do that a lot, and they do. Most people I find at Stevens in our community are pretty compliant in general. But I think for someone who has a repeated issue that's happening outside your window on a regular basis, if you can figure out who it is, you could tell me, email me. But if you can't figure out who it is, then you give me a photo. That would be helpful. And I will do my best to figure out who that is. So you can definitely report it. You can also, if it's really getting bad, you can call campus police and say this person won't. It's happening every day, and just let them know, and they can come and confront the person. I mean, do they want to spend should they be spending all their time confronting smokers? No. But I think if it's really dire and it's happening every day or all the time, then we want to know about it. But I think it's really hard when we don't know who it is. That's really the issue. So, asking in the moment is the best practice that you can do. But I think for someone who's not compliant or who continually doesn't, try to figure out who it is or send me a photo, and we will hold the person accountable.
Yeah, especially right now, there's police officers stationed on the river half of River.
So like cul-de-sac.
Yeah, they're stationed there all the time. So you can even just walk out of your door and be like, okay.
And the guy will stop.
I just like I ended up getting stuck there having a conversation for like hours. So they're like definitely willing to talk. I think they're bored because they're just standing there all day. So
Something new.
yeah.
But also, if you have a suggestion, we're always adding more signage as we get complaints. We say, let's put a sign up there. That's a problem spot. So we're still trying to nip it. There's still some problem spots. So just tell us if it's like somewhere in particular where you think a good sign should go, you can also tell me that.
Okay, I'll follow up.
But I will say, big picture, if you were here pre-pandemic, like, it's mostly eradicated. I'm quite proud of that. The library.
Oh my gosh.
Like, that used to be just cigarette butts all in the pavers and just constant smoke. And I've never seen someone smoking here. So there's been a lot of success with that policy. Even though I know it's still frustrating, like the little pockets. But just keep on people, you know. I constantly see, if I see anyone, I just nip it.
I have a question in the back.
I was gonna say the same thing, not about like the library area, but around Davis, like that lawn area. I don't know if you guys look at
The triangle in front of Davis.
no, not in front, like it's like around the whole like lawn area. There's just like cigarette butts on the floor. Occasionally I see like 2 or 3 of them walk past and then I look at the floor and I see more. I was walking like across campus with my parents and like we pointed it out and like that was the first time that I ever said that like somebody that isn't here all the time is pointing it out. That doesn't look really good for like campus.
I'll mention it to facilities. I mean, it could be that they've been sitting there and not been cleaned up. I personally walk by Davis a lot to and from train. I've never noticed someone smoking there, but it is possible if someone's doing it at night or.
It was right after the maybe it was like that whole week that nobody's
Okay.
turned.
Good to know. I'll tell campus police to be mindful of it.
Through there, so they kind of
Yeah.
Across the way.
Also like Davis in general, like the chats for like the who live in Davis. I've gotten a lot of emails because people live like smoking, I guess, like in the rooms. So I guess it's just like Davis residents. I don't know.
Right. Good to know. Thank you.
Is the arch gonna get put back up?
The game. Yeah, the game. Yes. It's, I don't know the exact date, but I shared this last time. It was the SGA meeting that we have worked with a special company that took it down brick by brick and marked all the bricks so that they can put it back exactly as it was. The problem is we need to wait till every single construction vehicle associated with the UCC project is gone because they can't get through, or if they did try, they would damage the gatehouse. So we are waiting until that is done, which could take some time after we open. So there's a hold on that. Like we're sitting in storage, waiting to go back out. So it will. It's a huge part of Stevens' history. It has to go back.
Ben.
So I apologize if this is too close to my last question. It's regarding to like the future and whatnot. I hope it's different. What's happening to North Building? Because like that's not
the north.
North Building. Because that's always meant to be a temporary building. So like it was put together like Legos essentially. So like that has to be going at some point, right?
I have no idea. I don't know. That building was built. It's a temporary building. It was built to be swing space, but we do all these different renovations. So offices like if your floor is under renovation and how you move to the north and then it gets renovated, then move back. We needed to have a swing space to be able to do all these renovations. I'm guessing it'll stay for a while, but different uses. So that I don't think there's any final decision on what's going to happen there. But I don't think it's going to go away anytime soon. It's not so bad, even though it was amazing to put together like Lego. I don't know. I don't think it's so bad. And we need space so badly. I feel like it'd be hard to take down building.
I do think even like it is mostly empty most of the time. I don't know last time the entire time that it's used. But even if you utilize some areas storage space for orgs, I think that would be appreciated if there is space there. Because I've been
They give us
I get emails all the time. I think I'll graduate and still get emails.
Urban.
Just a more simple question. Is student health services moving to the UCC or is that staying in its current place? Because right now it's a little like, out of the way, especially since most hospitals are in the Batio Bouchard area.
Yeah, I mean, it was intentionally built as part of the wellness center. It's brand new, so it's definitely not moving anywhere really ever. I don't know,
Small campus.
possibly ever in the Stevens history of time. I don't know that it's me again, but
Fair enough.
I could see in the way future maybe there's a different plan, but it's intended to be there for the long haul.
We also have a nice like homey campus, pretty contained. But if you ever need to get there within an emergency, Stevens police line on your ID. Forget to
or student on the Brave Guardian app,
Yes.
Student Guardian app, which you'll hear about soon. Well, suggestions, questions, like love your idea. Gab and I love working on projects together, so
Yeah.
if you have something good for us. Not that we're not doing nothing and
No,
bored.
Is there anything you super like about campus? You want to see more?
There was brought before, and I just want to emphasize like the need for more women's bathrooms, because like I remember going to something for Sweden. We were just having, it was like a feedback event, and we were just like talking about things that we would like to see on campus, and it was brought up that like men have the option to use the men's bathroom and the gender neutral, and they do use the gender neutral bathroom like a lot, and like women and like are non-binary people only can use the gender neutral, so it's kind of just like uneven in that way. So
Yep, we have our facilities planner doing a study of all the bathrooms so we can determine what can be changed. So it's, I assure you, I am your biggest advocate, trust me. I have the same issue. It's hard for me to find a women's restroom at times, so it will be addressed.
also even just the quality of the women's bathrooms, just the men's bathrooms, like it's absolutely atrocious. Like there are 2 stalls in the women's bathroom, and the men's have like 6 and urinals. So it's like, I get it, we're 30-70, like not favored in the population, whatever, like it still doesn't mean that you can be living from them.
Yeah, we'll do our best to equalize it. The problem is just that we have the space that we have, and we can't afford to renovate every single. It's a huge expense to renovate every bathroom on campus. So we sort of have to make it work within the structure that we have, and over time we will renovate. So just know it's at the forefront of the conversation. I know about it, and it's a concern.
Kaylee, did you?
I at risk of like belaboring the same point. Bouchard in particular, I think is really like inconvenient. I think it might only have 2 women's bathrooms in the whole building, and I vividly remember being very upset that I could not find the bathroom.
Yeah.
I ran down like 3 flights of stairs in the middle of class, and I could not find the bathroom. So
That's the main building in question. That's the main building we're talking about. Don't worry.
I think that women more often than not have more recent concerns when running to the bathroom. I had no idea. I had never heard that there were only 2 women's bathrooms in the whole building. So I ran from 5th floor, I'm going up a floor, down a floor. I had no idea where they were, and I ended up just using one of the men's rooms because I had no idea if there were any women's bathrooms in the building.
We're gonna fix it. Don't worry. It's gonna happen.
Lennox.
Speaking of restrooms, something that I really miss from like actual primary school is hangers on all the doors for my backpack. Like I have a backpack, and then I have nowhere to hang it while I'm using the restroom. I think it would be really amazing if we could have books, put our stuff all here, using the label.
I will bring that up with the facility staff. That's a very good idea.
Matt, you need it.
Well, I think it's all kinds of good to like board leaders, and like, obviously I know facilities is doing like a lot of things on campus that are very busy, but I know like a lot of students and like other people in the communities find that our interaction with facilities can be kind of frustrating, like kind of hard to like we email them, reach out, and like take a while to get a response, and we do response, they say we're not going to do what you asked us to do, and we're going to charge you $1 million for it anyway, and that just like that has been something I've heard consistently from people to be extremely frustrating. And I don't know if maybe facility have like a devoted like student group person that's like their job to coordinate with them. So like because they don't have a devoted person. Like university back is completely different. You always like Liz is always responding to you, and she will, make accommodations for you. Facilities is we like university is trying to help, whereas facilities sometimes feel like they're in the way of our events. So that's just a frustration
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I need more information to be able to respond to that because I don't know what happened. But they're probably not going to be able to have a person that just does student orgs. But I guess part part of my question, which might be a bigger conversation, is why are you all connecting directly with facilities, right? Like, it really should be university events that's coordinating that. And the facility is sort of on the back end, like doing some of the logistics, but university events would orchestrate that for you. So maybe that's really what we need to work on. The university event should be your conduit to all those things, because the facilities are not trained to work with students, right? And that's not really what they do. So probably that's what you're feeling, is they wouldn't know necessarily the right type of way to talk with you about something or to exchange with you. Not anything negative to them, it's just not a normal part of their job. But the university events team should do that. So maybe we'll have a side chat to you tell us more about that, and I can get down to it.
Yeah, Alex and I had a bit of an extended conversation with university events last week. I don't know, it seemed to be received really well, but it also seemed to be news to them, in my opinion, which was like kind of odd to me. But I'm following up many times as I possibly can.
We will work through that.
I will.
Starting next week, I will be supervising university events, which is a new change. So it's not going to change overnight, but I think it will help them to be more mindful of the student experience, because they're going to be in our unit. So.
Do you have any updates on the masking policy for schools?
Not yet, but you'll hear more very soon. It's all in final conversations and leadership meetings in the next week. So you'll be hearing probably next week.
Did the survey do well? Did a lot of people fill it out?
I don't know every survey in Stevens history, but it's possible that this was the most popular survey in Stevens history. Yes. We had 2,877 responses, which is, that just doesn't ever happen. People have a lot to say about masking. They're very passionate either way about masking. But no, I get it. We've all had about 2 years.
The first day it was, you don't have access.
Because you had to be on your Stevens account. Some people were like on their personal, you don't need to, but you actually were logged in and email.
Yeah, I was like,
I mean, enough people got access.
No, I know. I went in like 3 times and I was like, I'll tell Sarah how I feel. Like, I don't care anymore.
Someone else did that. They just emailed me and said, I can't get it, but I'm just going to tell you what I think.
Until whenever policy is initiated, is there an easy way for us to take care of a person who is like actively sneezing and coughing, either not wearing a mask or not masking properly in our lecture classes? Is that gives me anxiety?
It gives me anxiety just from you telling me. You're saying that they're not wearing a mask in your class?
Yes, and they're sick. Like, the reason why I voted on survey is I don't trust people to protect other people when they're sick, because that's already happening right now. So I was never communicated a way to alleviate that situation just as a student who wants to.
I mean, I know like at least my professors have been like pretty good about it, and they remind people at the beginning of every class if they have to, which is nice. But some professors like couldn't get across that way, and I honestly did walk up to several students in class and I was like, hey, not super cool. If you're not doing well, Stevens does has a whole system in place for you to take class from home. Like, you're gonna be okay if you can't come to class, stuff like that. Just sort of like laying out their options for them, and if it does get to the point where it's just like not gonna happen, you talk to your professor, and your professor should probably go higher than them. At least in my experience of what I've done. And like I will say, I'm more than comfortable calling anyone out. Clearly. So I've had a fun experience with it, but I know that a lot of professors even have had a difficult time relaying that message.
Yeah, that's a perfect answer. And just to add to that, there have been students who've done some of those things, and then when they go to their professor, the student feels that the professor didn't hear them or didn't listen to them, or the professor feels uncomfortable telling the student. In that case, you can also connect with the department chair, and the department chair, if you know who that is, you can look it up, or I can help you figure that out. The department chair can talk to the professor, because that's just unacceptable, right? We have as of right now, we have a policy, and it needs to be followed. But I do think if someone's actively seeming sick, just to say something to them, we're asking people not to come to class. So I think, if it's really problematic, though none of those things work, I'm always here to try and problem solve with you. You can just email me. But that's really frustrating. Sorry.
Or apparently just text me and I show up.
Yeah, gap does all kind confrontations.
To return to the survey for a second, will the results be published?
I don't know the answer to that. I don't know if it's necessary. I don't know. I have to say TBD on that, sorry. It's not just my decision.
Survey as popular. I'm kind of going off that question. Survey as popular as this, I feel like it might be a little disruptive to students to not be like at least transparent about, at the very least, the portions like who, like what percentage is voting for.
I think we have to decide if that makes any sense. So we will talk about it at the leadership level. And if we can communicate it to you, we will. I just don't know if it's really helpful. Know that whatever it is, it's informing our decision making.
Any other questions? It is a little after 4. Just as a time check. Katie.
I came a little late, so I'm not exactly sure like what the scope of the questions for this meeting is.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna ask about like first in class, and then we're getting close to graduation. And we at this point have first in class for just the entire university, but the difference in rigor for certain majors is pretty steep. And especially since we're now growing, I was wondering, and I don't know if this is the right place to ask this question, but I was wondering if there was a way to consider bringing up first in class by colleges, because I feel like that's what a lot of different universities do, and that would give exceptional students more of a chance to be seen.
Yeah, I hear you. We're actually, myself and Dean Wilson are in the middle of reevaluating first in class for next year. Not reevaluating happening first in class, but I'm kind of the process by which someone speaks at commencement. Does that need to connect to first in class? I think the university is reevaluating how we do commencement after this year, so we'll probably move. The plan right now is we're thinking about an all university commencement and then smaller school-based commencements where your name is called, and that would actually naturally lend itself to having first in class at each school. We already, just due to the fact that many students have 4.0 or higher, we always have ties for first in class, so don't quote me on it, but I'm fairly certain there are over 10 first in class this year, and there were over 10 last year, so there's actually opportunity for students from many schools to be first in class, and many schools are represented in this year's first in class group. But we are just rethinking how that all happens, how it fits into the commencement ceremonies. So it's a good conversation. If you have a lot of thoughts, shoot me an email on that, because we are talking about that. But for this year, it's going to be what it's been. But it's just moving forward, we're just thinking through that. You're all right on my wavelength.
So kind of based off of that, would those different ceremonies happen close together? Like if you have family coming from out of state?
Like we haven't planned the details, but the hope is, over a 48-hour period, everything would happen, right?
Anything super nice about campus that you want to continue? I asked that before, but
Right. What should we never stop doing? Ooh, lots of hands there.
And communicate with people that are more interested in the school in general, also.
yeah, I'm sorry.
The
I
mask
like
is
got it for
killer. I know.
No, I was saying, like, Stevens, like, is, like, great, small, you can meet a lot of people, communicate with a lot of people, there's so many of us, it's a great environment. So, like, grow as a person.
I love hearing that.
I have a sleep question based on that. What year are you again? That's what I thought. Okay, did you go to the fall party? Okay. Were you, like, abundantly overwhelmed by the amount of organizations trying to talk to you?
Like, I went to ones that appealed to me, I did not go to all of them.
Yeah.
The orientation, though, is a lot better than I'm supposed to have their orientation, which I do like, because I was able to meet a lot of people that obviously I'm not going to talk all of them, but I, like, the people that I met there, I still talk to today. Like, I made great friends. I made, like, relationships with people that I've known for not even 6 months, and I feel like I've known my entire life. So, like, it was definitely
orientation.
We're gonna keep doing that. I love that. Thanks.
So I guess if we're talking about orientation, I guess I do want to bring this up. Like, I'm a pretty far removed from it. It's been 3 years since my orientation, and I thought it was pretty good. But, like, I helped move my sister into her school, and like their orientation seemed like insane. Like, kind of admittedly different than what we do. Like, there's people everywhere, like almost like a party. Like, there's this super like welcoming environment, and so like I don't know if there is a push to change like new orientation and make it more friendly. Because like I remember I showed up, people greeted me at like this is where your room is. Like it's a totally different experience at some other schools, and like this is a cool thing that stood out.
And we promoted a good amount just on the side. Unpack the Quack is like super cool, super easy. You don't have to do the whole day, like come for an hour, like meet some people. And I think that really helps first year students, like to see a face that they recognize on campus, like, hey, you're the person who carried my giant luggage that didn't need to be that heavy up the stairs. Like that's pretty cool. So I don't know, I think that like more people, I don't know, like you have that sentiment to like sign up for Unpack the Quack this year. And like similar other people should have who do have similar sentiments should do the same. So I've done it every year. So
I cannot agree more. That's exactly what I was gonna say. We beg people to come that day. Like I can't put the people there, right? You all have to volunteer to come, and I think that's such an important day to be there. It's the official new student movement. We want it to feel vibrant and lively, and we do our best with the students who do show and the RAs and my staff, but really need more people. But I will also say on my end, I'm actually in the middle of an effort to make what I'm calling opening day, which is like new student movement day, more of an all-campus thing. Like in the past, it's really just been my staff who run it and are there, but I'm actually asking all the other offices to close and send their staff to help us so that there's more, like even faculty too and staff there, so that we kind of shut down all operations and everyone should focus on movement day. Because it's long been a frustration for me that people are just having a regular day, and I'm like, well, it's freshman movement day, right? So I'm trying to rile up the entire employee base to come out that day and help us. So I think you can also see like more people are there from that, but it really needs to be students, right? They don't want to see like 50, 60-year-old people hanging out. I mean, they want to see freshmen and sophomores, so you all have to come out too. But we'll put lots of announcements out to get people to unpack back.
I think we'll go Ange and then Danielle.
I will support the Unpack the Quack, like shameless plug, as a peer leader this past August. The people who came to Unpack the Quack are the biggest lifesavers, because most of the people who move it, like most of the people who were there moving people in were peer leaders. So we were running around trying to make sure we moved everything on time before we needed to give tours to everyone and get our groups together. And so that like, and I agree that like the students being there really make the experience. I know me personally, it was during the movement, but I moved someone in, so I'm like the president of the bowling team, and I moved someone's bowling bag in, and I got so excited, and I met this girl, and now she's the treasurer, for bowling. So like those connections are like everything. So it's really all about like the students. So I would support that. I think I've gone to orientation again this year, and remembering my own freshman orientation, I really think that we have a good one, and I think it's really the students that make it special. I was going to say, like comparing our orientation to another school's orientation, there's a lot of stuff that goes into like just how it looks like on like the surface level. Like if there's a school that has 35,000 students, their orientation, even if 10% of students show up, it's going to look a lot better than ours looks just at the surface level. And also their campus day to day looks a lot bigger and busier than ours is, but like it's like not, that makes sense. Like they're just as busy as
You can't establish an offense at our
I
school.
think for them, like, if it didn't look as crazy as it did, everyone would be like, what's going on? Like, if I signed up for something else, we're going to UConn, what are you talking about? Like, so, yeah, I think that they, like, have to, like, live up to this crazy expectation where we are, like, you're super rowdy, and, like, I never sign up for Unpack the Quack morning shift because I don't like the morning. Like, I just can't do it. So, like, and, like, that's just, like, the reality of it. Like, there's, like, a lot, like, as much as we are, like, this really big days, there's also, like, the quiet time and, like, the really homey campus feel of, like, hear the birds chirping in the morning and not, like, someone screaming on the field or something. So,
People didn't join us, it's like right. You might hear a few people screaming.
Last bit on this too is a lot of changes have already been made since you had an orientation. I actually thought this year's orientation was like the best ever. And every year it gets better. Every year we think, oh, it's not like we just redo the same orientation. We spend the whole year reassessing and reconsidering what we might do and hearing what other schools do. So would love feedback. Like if you have a particular thing, other than obviously we need more unpack volunteers. If you have like other feedback for things you want to see at orientation, things you hated, love, please tell me. You can always tell me those things. You can schedule coffee with me. You can email me. But that's how we know what to do. So please tell us. Eden?
Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
Oh,
no, Eden.
This is just from my experience as a commuter student. I've noticed that there is a lot of difficulty trying to get to some events because some of them will go on like at midnight and some of that. And while I understand like there is a lot of events for people who can live on campus, for commuters I find that it's incredibly difficult to remain scheduled and be able to do this stuff. And I want to enjoy events on campus. It's just a pain in the ass sometimes. Quite frankly.
I think that with the UCC opening, that will open more rooms and stuff. So that these classes are really the issue. Classes don't end until 9. Now we're in the 9:15, 9:30 area. So that's sort of when most events start. But Shia Morgan is like really passionate about that, and, like working on it all the time. Like I don't know about when you were doing work interviews, but when I was doing work interviews with her, that was a question that she asked every organization. Like, what about an event at 6 p.m.? Like, just like constantly asking that because I do think it's like a direction that we're trying to move in. Because it is feedback that we've received before. It is difficult right now just because there is the space to do it, but I do think that orgs can make an effort to do that, especially in the spring when it's really nice outside, because then you don't need a classroom.
Also, like, commuter students, like, they can have a better platform to, like, communicate with each other, because, like, not that you're gonna have every single person's phone number or something, but, like, there's a group chat you have, but, like, having more communication with students, it can be like, oh, I can drive people who live close to me, I can, carpool, or I can do this, or this will work for Saturday or something. Like, it's just like a lot more communication, like a lot more opportunities.
That's actually something that I've been looking at do a bit. A couple of other organizations have a rideshare program, and also, to be honest, I saw it on the parent page. Some parents were sort of organizing like their own. I'm more than confident that their children don't even know each other, and they were like, "We're going to talk to you." I was like, "Okay, let me know how that car ride goes."
Yeah.
So that was funny to me, but like I think that that's something that would be really cool that we can do, and maybe honestly maybe we can work with Clay, maybe probably put things together like that. But like it could be a pretty like informal thing, but I think a lot of students would sort of appreciate it, and like I'll talk to Brendan.
First, Matt.
Just a super quick idea, 'cause I know they have this at like other schools. They just have like outside of the cafeteria on bulletin board like a carpool. Like if you live in like this area, like like a little like super informal, just like breaking down.
Like a little Yeah. So we have like I'm calling it the student floor, which I mean all floors are student floors, but in the university center outside of my suite is like student open hangout space. Like that's a place where we could put that. We're gonna have a corkboard everywhere and all kinds of stuff. So maybe we can make an old school carpool ride share thing. I love that. Also, I've always thought like also for like Thanksgiving and other times like that, when even a non-commuter just might need a ride somewhere. Some people live in the same general vicinity.
We'll eat it in Linux.
So since you brought up the parents Facebook group, I know it's something we've talked about before, right? But you're working on like some kind of more formal way to communicate with parents, right?
Yes. Well, I do. I send a formal newsletter once a month.
Right.
Sometimes they post
Sarah's
it.
listserv.
They call it Sarah's listserv. It's not Sarah's list. It's a parent and family listserv. So they do have that. But something we're working on is that it would just automatically go to all parents. They wouldn't have to sign up. It's a workday issue. We've never had the capability to do anything like that, but IT is working on that. So what I'd like to do is that you don't have to sign up. Just any parent information automatically receives the newsletter.
Email.
It's a bigger issue. There's a reason for it. It's way over my head. IT promise is made like very high on their workday priority list. And then when we do that, I will create a listserv that will be automated, like a student listserv where I can email all students, anyone who's enrolled. I'll be able to automatically email parents or family members of anyone who's enrolled. So that will then help with that. But also in the near future, I've already made a request to hire a person who does parent and family programs. And I really feel we need a person. I don't know if it needs to be full time, but someone who handles parent questions, runs a Facebook page, does all kinds of things for parents, creates a newsletter, does programming for them. We actually do programming for parents sometimes. A lot of it happens before their students arrive, orient them, but we do sometimes other sessions throughout the year to educate them on like course registration or fraternity and sorority recruitment. So I think we could do a lot more there. And then of course family weekend and things like that. So I can't be the person.
Yeah. Even if admissions did a session for like first time parent.
We do.
Yeah.
I'm doing one in like 2 weeks again. I do a lot of webinars with them for parents of admitted students.
Yeah.
Right, to start asking all the questions. And then we do parent orientations throughout the summer on Zoom so they can come to any one of them. Then we do special parent sessions on like unique topics like mental health and things like that in college.
Yeah, thanks.
Go ahead, Ian.
Just along the lines of the whole, like, commuters not being able to come to things, you were talking about classes going later than they used to, or that's part of the major, but we do have new classrooms open. Is there any chance that we're going to give more, like, academic hours of academic days, like, throughout the week, so that maybe clubs can start doing more of their club meetings and events during the day, during the academic system?
I mean, I don't want to speak for the provost's office, but I'll tell you, I mean, I know you haven't been here probably for, I don't know what year you are, but we just a few years ago reduced the number of academic break hours, and it was a long process with a lot of discussion, so I don't think they're going to add to it. I think we used to have too much time, honestly. It makes course scheduling very difficult when you have too many academic break times and we can't use the classrooms to their fullest capacity, which we need to because of our space issues as an urban campus. So I'll be honest, I don't think I'm changing that, but that's ultimately a question for the provost.
Also, yeah, you didn't.
It's sort of a bit of a question. So, I noticed since the commute, I have to take the shuttle up a lot. I'm not sure if it's just me. There's just been a lot of issues. Just like it's gotten better, but there have been a lot of issues lately. I don't know if we talk about it, but is there a way to like not start a formal complaint, but to try to see like, hey, what are the issues and how to fix them?
If you have specific things about the shuttle, there's a feature in the app for you to put them, and they're responding to that all the time. People at VIA.
Okay.
So that's really the right place because they're the people doing the programming, so they can make adjustments as they receive feedback, and they do.
Okay, gotcha. I just haven't been navigating like all of that, so I guess I didn't notice it. Thank you.
Yeah, it's in there. If you look at it, it says like help or something. There's a place for you to write it. Yeah.
Yeah, like top left, there's like 3 bars, and then it's like the bottom option.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely tell them though. There's also a phone number you can call, and you can actually talk to someone. So either way. Yeah. Coming or this one. Yeah.
You want me to ask, why do, or are parents supposed to have access to their students' grades? Because she saw some people, so like parents on the Facebook, like talking about it. Is that like allowed to happen?
It's a family conversation.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Some parents require it for their kids. I mean, it's not something I would do, but some parents do that. Some kids give their students give their parents their passwords. I mean, this is a personal issue to each family.
I know what she was talking about, there was someone on the parent page just saying that they hadn't seen grades yet, and I don't think that means that like they hadn't, like their child hasn't shown their grades yet. I'm assuming it meant that their grades haven't been posted.
Yeah,
Right. They were logging into the system for their students.
Yeah.
A lot of students share their passwords with their parents.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's also been that's something that Ian's also addressing, like especially even when I took like MA, I know the numbers have changed now, but when I took like my first math class this year, I didn't see a grade until my grade was pretty low. So I didn't know what was going on until like the end of the semester, and there's nothing I could do about it. But I think that's something just like.
Yeah, I saw that feedback this week on the parents' Facebook group, so I get a lot of info. And I already shared it with the provost's office for them to think about it. It's not really my purview, but I did share it with them.
I was gonna say, I think that also even if you share their grades with their parents, more often than not, they understand how grades work with words.
Yeah.
So like you'll see like a 76, and it's like, no, don't worry, it's a B. Like, what do you mean it's a B? No, don't worry. It's probably an A minus, but it's like at least
Right,
a
there's
B.
a curve, right?
Yeah, I include my curve when I tell my parents. Even if there isn't one, I include the curve.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I also just urge you, as I said, I love taking students out to coffee. You can swing by the student center. I have a QR code on my door for you to schedule a time, or it's in my email signature. But I really do love connecting and hearing your thoughts and just getting to know you. So please take advantage. I love having coffee on campus.
I think we're trying to do it with Paulina too. Coffee with Paulina doesn't quite ring. I think we settled on that point. So we'll figure something out, but I think that it would be really cool to sort of allow more students. We have office hours too. I don't usually go to anyone's except mine, apparently. But maybe we can figure that out. Because usually people will go to mine and questions or me. But yeah, our doors are always open, so. Yeah.
Well, thanks, Charlie, for moderating.
Yeah, thank you everyone again for tuning in, either virtually or in person. There's lots of food, so please take some.
A lot of
Thank
food.
you all for being here. I appreciate you.